It's a special week for today's Craig Melvin. His first children's book, I'm Proud of You, is now on book stands. Craig joins us from New York. Craig, we love starting our day with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sarah, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
So this is not your first time writing a book. Your first book, Pops, was for a much different audience, but both books have that father-son theme. Why did you decide to write this children's book?
You know, Sarah, I wanted to celebrate parenthood, especially fatherhood. We all go so fast as parents that sometimes we sort of forget to stop and take stock of the accomplishments that our sons and our daughters are making every day. So I wanted to celebrate the things that make me proud about my children, things large and small. So in the beginning of the book, a lot of it's devoted to like the first time I remember you tying your shoe for the first time or jumping off the diving board for the first time and how proud I was of those accomplishments. And then later in the book, it's a little bit more about the emotional development of our children. My son's Delano, he's 10 years old. My daughter Sybil, she's 7.5. And I wanted to write a love letter to them.
Well, I love that. I listened to a portion of the book online where you were actually reading it, and it really got me teary-eyed because my 5-year-old son, more so than my daughter, he always asks, "Are you proud of me? Do you love me?" And so the book just really spoke to me as a parent, and I can't wait for my husband to read it to our son. So why was it so important for you to convey this message from a father to a son?
You know, listen, to your point, we are as parents almost duty bound, contractually obligated, if you will, to love our children. And I think most parents will say, "I love you, I love you, I love you," to our kids. You don't always hear "I'm proud of you" when you're a child. We don't always tell our children that we're proud of them for very specific reasons. So in our house, we go out of our way to do that. And I wanted them to know, both of my kids, to know just how proud I am of them. Because, Sarah, here's the thing. I've heard this from a number of parents who have older children. Apparently, there comes a point when our kids, they don't talk to us as much. Or if they do, they're mumbling and grunting at us. So for selfish reasons, I also wanted to be able to take the book when they're teenagers and say, "Listen here. Listen, you little snot. I'm so proud of you. I wrote an entire book about it when you were younger." So that was part of the motivation and thinking as well.
I love that. And I feel like when I look at the books that we have at our house, there are so many about a relationship between mothers and their children. And I can't think of a book about a father and a son. And I know your daughter is in the book as well, but why was that so important to communicate that message and focus on a father-son relationship?
I'm glad you asked that, Sarah. And, you know, listen, here's the thing. I'll be the first to admit in most households around this country, the moms are doing the lion's share of the lifting. That goes without saying. But I also think that fatherhood, modern fatherhood especially, that it needs to be celebrated. It deserves to be celebrated. There are some amazing dads out there doing some extraordinary things every day. And I'm not just talking about providing for their families. I'm talking about putting in the quality time that it takes to rear good children. And so I wanted to add to the narrative. And I do think sometimes, even in 2024, when you think about dads, you think about, you know, Peter Griffin or Homer Simpson, or, you know, it's dads deserve, they deserve a little shine as well, as the kids like to say.
Well, you're going to be heading out on a book tour, coming to the Carolinas. We're excited to have you here. You'll be at Park Road Books in Charlotte this Saturday. Are you going to get any free time in the Carolinas while you're here?
I am, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to being at Park Road Books. By the way, I know it's a wildly popular bookstore there in Charlotte and around Mecklenburg County. After that, I am going to drive down to Columbia. Going to see my folks there in South Carolina. Going to do some book events there as well. Going to have dinner with the family. So we're going to make a weekend out of it, if you will. But I'm really looking forward to getting back to the Carolinas.
Well, Craig, you have been such an inspiration, and for what it's worth, you're an amazing father figure to so many people out there. So thank you for all that you do, and I'm so excited for you and your new book.
Sarah, thank you so much. Come by Saturday if you're around. Saturday morning, swing by, bring your friends.
All right.
Coffee's on me.
I'll try to bring my kids too.
Okay.
Craig,
Thank you for the time.